everyone, and welcome to Lesson 5. In our last lesson, we talked about how to write a great article for your online audience. Today, we're talking about something called Google Love. What is Google Love, Emily?
That's a good question. It's very important because, as you know, our traffic strategy is search engine optimization, which basically means that the search engines need to give us traffic. And since Google owns the vast majority of the search engine market, really that means that you have to get Google to love you.
Please, Google.
So how do we do that? I might quote a very famous apostle when he said, the three things remain constant: faith, hope, and love, but the greatest of these is love. In the Google gospel, there are three things that last as well. They're quality, authority, and relevance. But the greatest of these is relevance. So what is quality? Quality is whether or not Google thinks that your site is not complete trash, right? Simple.
Whether or not it's relevant to what people are typing in, right?
Well, that's relevance.
Oh.
Not quality.
We'll edit that out.
Okay. So quality is simply, do you have a piece of trash that you can put on the web, or is it actually a reasonably good website?
Mm-hmm.
The second thing, and how good a site is it, right? This
Relevant.
Authority has to do with whether or not Google believes that you are a trusted voice, right? If you are a trusted voice, then you have authority over your industry.
What would be an example of someone that has authority?
Ooh, we'll get there.
Okay.
I'll give you an example. CNN has a lot of authority. People listen to them. So CNN.com is given a lot of authority.
Mm-hmm.
But, you know, little Billy Bob, who's 7 years old, learns how to put a website up. Well, until Google's convinced that little Billy Bob is worthy of other people thinking of them as an authority figure, Google's probably not going to give them a lot of authority.
Not so much.
Not as much as CNN. And the last thing, which of course, greatest of these, is relevance. That means how associated with your keyword is your site. So how does Google do this? There's two things that you need to consider. One is your site itself, and the other is the rest of the web. And Google considers them separate as well. So for quality, on-site is simple. Don't put porn on your website. Okay?
Well, for some people that might be quality, but not for us.
But not for Google.
Not
okay?
for Google.
Google will actually filter you out in safe search. So unless your actual topic is pornography, which, by the way, is a very difficult industry, very competitive, so we don't recommend that one. So just keep porn off your site. Another thing is, just whether your site is in English. If your site doesn't seem to be English to Google, they won't rank you in an English-based search engine, right? So if you actually want to rank in Russia, you might want to actually have it be in Russian. But other than that, you do need to make sure that your grammar is adequate, and it doesn't need to be exceptional, but, English, right? Mm-hmm. It doesn't take a whole lot to meet a minimum standard of quality, right? And the nice thing about WordPress Direct is that not only does it give you a minimum level of quality, it goes way beyond that. So if you're using WordPress Direct, then you have a site that is pre-designed to be optimized for Google Love. So keep porn off of it, make sure it's in the right language, use WordPress Direct, and you've got a relatively good quality site going for you.
Excellent. So using WordPress Direct is going to help people get some Google Love in?
Get some Google Love in, yeah.
Nice.
The second thing for on your site is authority. And authority has to do with what you call page rank. So Google has this algorithm that ranks every page, not every site, every single page on every single site that it's indexed from a number from 0 to 10. And the higher the number they give you, the higher the authority. So you might have a page on your site that's page rank 0. That's possible. Wikipedia pages have page rank 0 sometimes. But the core Wikipedia page has a very high page rank. I have to look it up to see what it is exactly. But it's probably somewhere around page rank 7. Now, in order to get from page rank 0 to 1, it's not that hard. It's 10 times harder to get from 1 to 2. 10 times harder from 2 to 3, and so forth and so on. It's a logarithmic scale in the sense that 10 times more sites have the number 6 and the number 5. I'm sorry, the number 10 times more sites have the number 6 than the number 7.
Right.
And 10 times more have the number 7 than the number 8. So you can see how it gets harder and harder and harder to get to the next level. How do you get a high page rank? We'll get there in a minute.
And if you have a higher page rank, then you get ranked higher when someone types
Well, then you have authority. And remember, the triumvirate of Google love is quality, authority, and relevance. So now you understand how authority works. But if your site is about race cars and a site on cooking links to your site and says, check out this great cooking page, then that high authority site is saying you have high authority, you'll get good authority, but they're not saying you're relevant to the keyword you want to be relevant to. And this is very important. Any authority site can also influence Google's opinion of your relevance. And remember, relevance is the most important thing. So how do you get pages on other sites to not only give you authority, but to convince Google of your relevance? The way you do that is with the actual text that's blue and underlined that somebody might click on to go to your page. That text gives that site a vote for that keyword phrase. So if the text says, click here, then basically that page is voting for you to get ranked for the keyword, click here.
But if it said Emily's Cupcakes,
then it would recommend to Google that you rank for Emily's Cupcakes. At the same way.
Because a lot of people do the click here underlined.
Correct.
And they don't even know that they could be using that to rank higher.
Interesting exercise is to actually type in click here on Google and see how many pages you get as a result. There's a lot. So
even just that alone could help a lot of people get a little more clout for their sites.
Correct. So the goal is to not just get a link, but to get a link where the anchor text, or the words that are used in the link, actually says your primary keyword.
And how do you get someone to link to your site?
That's tomorrow.
Oh.
As you can guess, Google.com has extremely high page rank.
I bet it has a 10.
And it definitely, in Google's opinion, has high authority, but it doesn't show up as first on all of the search results because that's not the greatest of all. The greatest of all is relevance, and Google does not believe that its site is relevant to everything. So the most important thing is that your site actually be about the keyword that you're discussing. So if you have picked a keyword that you don't want to talk about, either switch keywords or start talking about it. Because Google actually does semantic indexing. They can actually figure out whether an article is about the keyword based on the density of synonyms on the page. So in order to make sure that you have on-site relevance, you need to use the keyword a lot, and you need to use the secondary keywords a lot, and you generally need to be talking about what the keyword is about.
That makes sense.
Yeah. So that is the on-site side. And if you're using WordPress Direct and you're doing the other little things that make a difference, your on-site is set. You don't need to worry about it anymore. The other thing you need to think about, though, is off-site optimization. And if Google cares about your site, it cares a lot more about what the rest of the web thinks about your site, if that makes sense.
How do you gauge that? How do you know?
That's a good question. Google looks at the web and counts and considers backlinks. Are you familiar with backlinks?
No.
Have you ever?
No.
Okay, be honest.
Yes.
Okay. Google, you've probably clicked on something at some point in time that's probably got blue text and underlined in blue, and it's taken you a different website, right?
That's a link.
That's a link. When that link goes to your site, that is a site that backlinks to your site, if that makes sense.
So when people have like relevant links on their site and then they list your site, you're talking about cupcake recipes, and they have a link to emily'sfabulouscupcakerecipes.com, which would be a really long domain, but it's possible. So that would be an example of somebody backlinking to Emily's Cupcake site.
Correct. So when it comes to quality, what matters is that those links aren't coming from poor quality sites. So make sure porn sites aren't linking to you, okay? So don't try to get really, really, really bad sites. I wouldn't worry about it too much. Just stay away from porn. What's this? Can I say? Stay away from porn. But you want to at least get a minimum level of quality from those backlinks.
So if CNN.com had a link to your site, that would be like a lot of clout, as they say.
Yes. In fact, that has to do with authority. If an authority site links to you via an authority page, now remember, Wikipedia can have really low authority on some pages, really high on others. Google is going to consider any link on a really high page much more than a really low page. So if a high page rank page is linking to you, Google's going to consider that far more than if a low page is linking to you. A good way of thinking of it is pretend that you managed to get a link to your site from a PageRank 7 page. Now that's huge. But that PageRank page has 6 other links. Now, the algorithm's a little more complicated than this, so it's simplifying it a bit, but you can basically expect Google to increase the authority of the page on your site by 1, because it split the 7 page rank up into evenly throughout the 7 links on the other page. So if you
it gets diluted in a way.
It gets diluted by how many links are on that page, but when you think about it, a PageRank 7 site has a lot of clout to give. So it's generally a good place to go, unless they have 100,000 links.
What if someone gives you a link and then they take it down? Does it lower your page rank after that?
It does. Yep. So
it's something you have to kind of keep up with, and
you do have to keep up with it a bit, yes. More importantly, you have to start making it grow organically. As long as you're getting it to grow organically,
what does that mean to people that don't know what that organic growth is?
We're going to explain how that works in the next video.
Oh, in the next video. Perfect.
So, check in.
And, homework?
Oh,
do we have homework? You're not getting off the hook that easy.
The homework tonight actually is part of the mindset video. So, check out the mindset video, and we'll see you tomorrow.
Thank you. Bye.